My body was a little confused just now. I put on the gear that I normally put on to fight, but I also had my hair and makeup done. Once an alpha, always an alpha, so it feels good to be back in this. If you know anything about the military, you know that the rank that I was at as a lieutenant and 26 years old is a lot lower than a general, and specifically a 4-star general. The head of the Marine Corps, the commandant, the #1 Marine general, was at a funeral for a very highly decorated Marine. And the church was crowded, about 700 people. And for some reason, he got off topic and he started talking about how women were great in the military and we welcome them, but they're not fighters. They're not wolves, and wolves win in combat, and women are sheep. And the admiral that I worked for at the time turned around later and said, "I couldn't believe you just didn't throw your heel at him." Like, he knew that I was a fighter. So a couple of months later, I had the chance to be in the same place as this Marine general. And I don't know what possessed me, but I tapped him on the shoulder and I said, "I'm a boxer. I spar men who are 6 foot and 200 pounds. I've knocked women out. Some women are wolves, and I'm one of them." But there's a price for all that. It doesn't look good. The first couple of punches look nice. You hear the snap. And then later, you get tired, and it's hard to even throw a hand. And that's what being a wolf is made of.
All right, let's go over the 6 punches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. Good head moving. Move the head, roll. Good head, roll. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 2. 1, 1. 1, 1. 1, 2, 3, 2. Good. 1, 2, 3, 2. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. Good. Move the head. Breathe. Turn. Hard 2. Hard 2. 2 roll 2. Good. Again. 2 roll 2. Good. 1, 1. 1, 1. Liver. 1, 1. Good. Again. 1, 1. Left. 11. Yeah. Good. Come back to the same body. 1, 1. Lift the head. Take that. Head. There you go. Hook the head. 1, 2. Hook the body. Hook the head. There you go. Good. 1. Hook to the body. Yeah. 1, 2. Good. Keep pushing. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Roll 2. Good. 2. 2. Hey. 1. Hey. Triple jab. 1, 1. 1. Good. Keep breathing. Triple jab. 1, 1, 1. Good. 10 straight punches. Come on. 5, 7, 9, 10. Woo! Come on again. 10 straight. 1, 2, 5, 7, 9, 10. Woo! Come on. 1, 1, 1, 1, 2. Hey, 1, 2. Hey, 1, 2. Roll 2, 2, 2. 1, 2. Roll 2, 3, 2. 1, 2. Roll 2, 3, 2. Good. 1, 1. 1, 1. Hey, 1, 1, 2, 3, 2. 1, 2, 3, 2. Good. Then we'll liver shot after that. Like this. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. 1, 1, 1, 2. 1, 10 straight. 10. Woo! Come on. Too hard. Good. Too hard. Good. Too hard. 2 roll 2. Good. 1, 2. Good. 1, 2. Hey. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. Good. Try again. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. Good. 1, 1. 1, 1. 1, 1.
Rise and shine. 6 a.m. and your hand can't make it to the alarm clock before the voices in your head start telling you that it's too early, too dark, and too cold to get out of bed. Aching muscles lie still in rebellion, pretending not to hear your brain commanding them to move. A legion of voices are shouting their unanimous permission for you to hit the snooze button and go back to dreamland. But you didn't ask their opinion. The voice you've chosen to listen to is one of defiance. A voice that says there was a reason you set that alarm in the first place. So sit up, put your feet on the floor, and don't look back, because we've got work to do. Welcome to the grind. For what is each day but a series of conflicts between the right way and the easy way? 10,000 streams fan out like a river delta before you, each one promising the path of least resistance. Thing is, you're headed upstream. And when you make that choice, when you decide to turn your back on what's comfortable and safe and what some would call common sense, well, that's day one. From there, it only gets tougher. So just make sure this is something you want, because the easy way out will always be there, ready to wash you away. All you have to do is pick up your feet. But you aren't going to, are you? With each step comes the decision to take another. You're on your way now, but this is no time to dwell on how far you've come. You're in a fight against an opponent you can't see, but oh, you can feel him on your heels, can't you? Feel him breathing down your neck. You know what that is? That's you. Your fears, your doubts, and insecurities all lined up like a firing squad, ready to shoot you out of the sky. But don't lose heart. While they're not easily defeated, they are far from invincible. Remember, this is the grind, the battle royale between you and your mind, your body, and the devil on your shoulder who's telling you that this is just a game. This is just a waste of time. Your opponents are stronger than you. Drown out the voice of uncertainty with the sound of your own heartbeat. Burn away your self-doubt with a fire lit beneath you. Remember what we're fighting for, and never forget that momentum's a cruel mistress. She can turn on a dime or the smallest mistake. She is ever searching for the weak place in your armor, that one tiny thing you forgot to prepare for. So as long as the devil is hiding the details, the question remains, is that all you got? Are you sure? And when the answer is yes, when you've done all you can to prepare yourself for battle, then it's time to go forth and boldly face your enemy, the enemy within. Only now you must take that fight into the open, into hostile territory. You're a lion in a field of lions, all hunting the same elusive prey with a desperate starvation that says victory is the only thing that can keep you alive. So believe that voice that says you can run a little faster, and you can throw a little harder, and that for you, the laws of physics are merely a suggestion. Luck is the last dying wish of those who want to believe that winning can happen by accident. Sweat, on the other hand, is for those who know it's a choice. So decide now, because destiny waits for no man. And when your time comes and 1,000 different voices are trying to tell you you're not ready for it, listen instead to that lone voice of dissent. The one that says you are ready, you are prepared. It's all up to you now. So rise and shine.
Okay. So I did that uniform thing for 14 years. Kind of over it. I actually would wear high heels around the room on Friday nights with mesh shorts because we weren't allowed to go out. I worried about losing practice wearing high heels because obviously when you're 5'11", you want to be taller. That was ridiculous. I was always the ridiculous one. I only got that job as an aide to the admiral because I was a boxer and he thought that was really cool. And he was like, hey, I need a bodyguard, so do you want to do this job for a 3-star admiral? And I had been in the PE department, and all these really motivated lieutenants who were just busting their butt, hoping to get noticed. I did it on accident because I knocked some girl out. But mostly the military was me trying to not get in trouble again and getting people angry at me. This is when I was on my ship. I graduated, and it's really, really exhausting to stand watch. You don't really have an excuse for that. I just get sleepy. So literally in the middle of the night, in the middle of oceans, that thing right there, I would sleep on it. And metal gets comfortable when you're really tired. And this is in Hawaii. So I did this for 3.5 years. I was one of 3 women on my ship during our deployment. We had 220 men. I found that they didn't really care that I was a woman. They were just nonplussed by it, but they weren't really conditioned to expect leadership from women. Most of them had only served around men. But more than being a woman, they didn't want to take leadership from an officer, especially one who went to the Naval Academy. They figured we were all arrogant and didn't care about them. When I hung a heavy bag up in our helo hangar and started hitting it, that's when they started to listen. So after 10 years of various assignments, I'm never really feeling like I found my place, which is tough when you're 32. I got to the D school at Stanford, and there were 9 of us fellows, and they are my family. This guy on the left, when we went back and spoke to the new class of fellows, his first statement was treasure the unconditional love. And that's what we had for each other. But I found my place. I started to understand my chaos inside, these questions I always had, the crazy things that I was doing were part of a normal process. It just wasn't a normal process in the military. So I was an aide for an admiral, but I really wanted to take a summer vacation. So I said, will you let me go to Nigeria, or generally Africa, I think I asked, for 2 or 3 weeks, and I want to take some midshipmen, volunteer. I haven't been there. I like doing things for others. So he said, sure, go ahead. He's like, man, I've never been to Africa, so will you take me? I'm like, you're a 3-star. Like, now I'm telling the ambassador that there's going to be a 3-star admiral there, but whatever. So he went, and we had a lot of fun and did a lot of dirty work, and I realized just how pathetically incompetent I was to do anything of value in the world. When you realize that your best skill going somewhere is to move dirt, and you can't even do it as well as them because they're used to the heat and the lack sometimes of water. We had water bottles. They didn't get that. You feel kind of useless. So I was in charge of these 12 midshipmen, these students at the Naval Academy, and they said, well, there is one thing you guys can do if you're done moving dirt. We've got this trench in back of our clinic. It's an HIV/AIDS free clinic. Normally we pay Nigerian prisoners $2 a day to clean it out, and it's pretty dirty. You're going to need rubber gloves and boots and face masks. And when somebody in the developing world, in the developing country, tells you that you're going to need rubber gloves and face masks, they're serious about what you're going to do. If there's only one thing you ever take out of this talk, let it be that leaders never ask their people to do things they wouldn't do themselves. So I got in the ditch with this kid who is probably as crazy as I am, and he's a Marine now. But I realized that design school, looking back, taught me what I was doing. I took 2 more trips with students to Africa. The place where we went in Nigeria had too much violence for us to go back there, so we went to Uganda. And by the 3rd time that I went, we knew what to do to make a difference. We brought a bunch of donated boxing gear, and we held boxing classes every day for a few weeks. And kids this high to this high were walking for miles to come get lessons, and then we left the gear with them. And it took a while, but we were listening, and that's the first piece of design. It's really hard to do that when you don't feel like you have something to offer. But that's not the point for you to feel better. That's why I think I found my calling with design thinking, because the first thing you do is listen to somebody else and hear their stories. And the other thing that I realized is that sports. I've rowed crew, which literally is a slave sport. If you watch the movie 300, slaves are doing crew. It's not the cool Greek Olympic sport. And then I boxed. My favorite part is when I wear one of my USA Boxing shirts, and some guy says to me, oh, honey, you're really tall. Did you play volleyball? That's a nice shirt. Is that your boyfriend's? And I just get, so I try and keep it in. But barely. And I'm like, no, this is my shirt. I knocked that girl out. 3 of them, in fact. Feel my thigh. No, seriously. Feel my thigh. When I start drinking, which may happen tonight, I don't know. Maybe in 5 minutes, probably. Not a lot. I'm not, okay, not advocating that. I always make people feel my thigh. I'm so proud of it. If I'm not going to be small, I'm going to be big and strong. And I'm going to be 6'4". Thanks. And in the interest of truth, that guy on the left cheated on me once. I thought we were dating, we weren't. But it's relevant because he was a boxer too. Was a naval officer. The point is, though, that he's here for my fight, and I won the national title that day, and he'd been knocked out of the tournament a few days later. But he stayed for me because I was the fighter. And there aren't a lot of times a woman get to say that. So I'm okay leaving that guy in the picture. This is for real. If you think this is a joke, it's not. Maybe you and me, this room thinks so, but not the Pentagon. That's a serious slide from the military. That's our acquisition process. So if you ever wonder why we have the problems we do, or why you see articles about tanks and jets that are billions of dollars over budget, this is the beginning. This is actually the military's part of the process. That doesn't even include Congress. So you think the military needs design thinking. And my problem for 14 years was that I didn't realize where I fit in this, because this had no place for this. So I got out and I did Stanford, and all the jokes aside, this is why it matters to me. I spend a little bit of my time back with the government and military because there are some insanely crazy, evil people. I don't get it, but it's just not like not being nice one day and taking your friend's donut. And what's not talked about, by the way, is how rape is a weapon of war. They talk about beheadings, but not the violence against women. And that is incredibly important to voice for us. And so these guys in suits with that PowerPoint slide are trying to do something about those guys who are at the edge of evil innovation. Our society needs design thinking. And for this reason as well, and this is why I got out and what I do now. I work with an agricultural technology, I'm bleeding, innovation network, innovation ecosystem. And I like this because it's about growing things and feeding people. It's the other side of death. But when you're working between sectors, between people that don't understand each other, people that think they have a process for getting things done, people who like control, our world is inherently chaotic. It's always been that way, but it's more complex now because things are so tightly connected. So if there's anything I learned from boxing, from fighting, it's that if you don't pay attention to the present moment, you're going to get hit in the face. And I love that. I love returning to sport for that. I do CrossFit now because disciplining myself to do something I really don't want to do. To tell you I want to do CrossFit before I go to that workout is a lie. I would rather sleep. And I do it because I love myself when I leave. Sometimes I beat some people at the gym, and I always lose to somebody. And I love that because it brings me back to remember that the only opponent that matters is myself, and pushing myself to my limit, not anybody else's. And that focus of being in the moment, of diving deeply, is one of the hearts of design thinking. You can't control chaos. You can only control what you focus on in that moment and how you use your mind. And design moves between a flare and a focus, a wide and an analytical lens, and different kinds of modes of going wide and coming back. But you can't do both at the same time. You can only do one, and hopefully you do one well. And the other thing I learned was to go wide, to find the extremes of my personality and who I am. When I knocked those girls out, I can't tell you what that felt like. To dominate another human being who chose to be in that ring with me. I hold power in my body like I never would have expected without this sport. And I also hold humility because I've been knocked around and beat up and my face opened, and this is the beginning of where I've bled from on my, generally around here. But also, because I can go wide, because I can wear this outfit and I own it, I'm working on learning how to dance better. I took a flow class when I got out. I read somewhere that really creative people have extremes of personality. It's safe to stay in the middle, and it would have been safe to wear flats. I would have been sure that I would have not fallen over. I may still yet, I have like 10 seconds. More than anything, I want to be uncomfortable even when I don't want that. Beautiful things happen when you're uncomfortable. You are human when you're uncomfortable. I got really tired when I was boxing. I'm only now beginning to catch my breath. And I learned to focus. So anyone can be a designer. Anybody can be creative. You do two things. You go deep into the moment and let the chaos be what it is, but be in the moment. And you find the extremes of your personality, the places where you're uncomfortable and there's an edge, and you own it. And then you share that with somebody else, because anybody else who's owning the edge is just as scared as you. Have a good day.